In this video, we will add an additional security layer for our Django application called one-time password. So let me show you exactly what we are going to do. Over here, I have a login form where I need to input my credentials, but even if they are correct, I won't be logged into the system right away. So I'm going to put in the correct credentials. And now I have one-time password. In this video, we are going to grab the one-time password from the terminal. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to copy it, paste it, and now I'm logged in. If I log out and put in a wrong password, I will have invalid username or password. If I type in the correct password and I put in the wrong code over here, I will get invalid one-time password. If I wait over a minute with my one-time password, I will have an information that my one-time password has expired. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so before we begin to code, let's take a look at what have I done so far. So for this tutorial purposes, I've created a brand new project and I named it core, and currently I'm inside of the source directory in the core folder in the settings.py file. If we take a look at the installed apps list over here, you can notice that I didn't add any applications and I won't be adding any applications in this particular video. We don't need it. We created the views.py file directly in the main project folder. So if we scroll down, we have a login URL, and then in the templates section, I told Django where to look for additional templates, and according to those settings, I placed the templates folder in the main directory, and I created 4 templates, 1 base HTML, and then 3 other templates which will inherit from base HTML. If we scroll down to the time zone, I also added my current time zone over here. So this is it for the settings.py file. Let's move to the views.py file of the core directory. Over here, I have 4 views. The first one is the login view, and as you can see, it is almost finished, and this is because we are not focusing on a traditional authentication system in this particular tutorial. We are focusing on adding this extra security layer, and this extra security layer will be added over here. So let's go through this view very quickly. We are checking if the request method is equal to post, then we are gathering the username and the password from the form, and then we are trying to get the user with authenticate, passing the request username and password. And then if the user is not known, we are going to be taken to the OTP, which corresponds with the OTP view. So usually over here, we are simply logging into the system. Here we are going to be redirecting to another place where the login functionality will be continued. So in the OTP view, we will have a form with 1 input OTP, and we will get this OTP from the form. And then if everything goes correctly, we will then be taken to the main view. This main view is wrapped with the login required decorator, and this means that only logged in users are allowed inside. So if everything goes well, we will be taken to the main view, and from this main view, we will be able to simply log out. So those 4 views have been already registered by me in the URLs.py file, in the URL patterns, starting from the main view, login view, OTP view, and the logout view. I also have a utils.py file for the send OTP function. Over here, we will be generating one-time passwords. And in this simple tutorial, we will be getting the OTP from the terminal. However, if you would like to extend this example, you can also send it by email over here or maybe by SMS. Next, let's take a look at the template starting from the base HTML. So this is our main template from which other templates will inherit. And this is an ordinary get started bootstrap template with some few modifications. The most important one is that I've placed a div with the class container margin top 3, and this div wraps our blog content, okay? So if we now take a look at the login HTML, and this is a template where we have a form, and in case of any errors, we will also display the errors over here. But the main part is the form, where we have an opportunity to gather the username and the password from the user, and then we have this button to submit this form. So in the views.py file, we are gathering the username and the password from this particular place. Okay, and then we have the main HTML. This is just a very simple template with a home page, 2 break lines, and a button to log out. And then we have an empty OTP HTML. So if we take a look at the views.py, we can notice that we are redirecting to OTP. This OTP is now empty, but we can place over here OTP, save this, and then over here, just be sure to add a super user, okay? And then let's try to log in. I'm going to press the login button, and I'm taken to the OTP. So what we can do right now is to go to login, grab this form with the error message as well, and then in the OTP, we are going to place this piece of code and make some small modifications. So I'm going to delete the password. Okay, I don't need it. And then what I'm going to also do over here is to change the username to OTP. The label will be OTP, and the name is going to be OTP. All right, so now our OTP will look like this. Okay, let's also change this login to maybe confirm. All right, let's save this, refresh, and there it is. All right, but we are not generating one-time passwords just yet, so let's actually do this. And as mentioned before, we will do it in the send OTP. Before we actually put the code inside of this function, this helper function, we need to install a package called Pyotp. So I'm going to quit the development server from running, pip install Pyotp, and let's wait a few seconds. There it is. So now we can run the server again, and we will begin by importing Pyotp. All right, so now we can generate a random secret key for OTP, and I'm going to create a variable called TOTP. TOTP stands for time-based one-time password. So let's write POTP, TOTP. Then what we are going to do is to call POTP and then random base 32. We are going to call this function, and we are going to set the interval to 60 seconds. So we want to have a password valid for 60 seconds in this particular example. So as the next step, we can get the OTP value. So OTP is going to be equal TOTP now, okay? So this is what the user should be inputting in the template, okay? If the user input will match this, then we will be very close to success. Okay, next, let's store the secret key in the user session. So we will write request session. We need to name our key. I'm going to call it OTP secret key. And this is going to be equal TOTP secret. Okay, as the next step, let's set the expiration time for the OTP. And as mentioned before, we want our one-time password to be valid for 1 minute. So what I'm going to do is to import something from datetime. So from datetime, we want to import datetime as well as time delta. There it is. And now we can create a variable called valid date, and this is going to be equal datetime now, and we want to add 1 minute to this particular date time. So we can do it with time delta, setting minutes as 1, like this. And then again, we need to store the expiration time in the user's session. So again, request session, and this is going to be named, let's call it OTP valid date, and we are going to set it to str valid date. Okay, and then over here what we could do is to send this OTP by email or by SMS, but instead we are going to print with the use of fstring your one-time password is, and then here let's place in OTP. Okay, so this should work. Let's save this and let's go to the views.py file. Over here, let's begin by importing the send OTP function. So from utils py, we want to import send OTP, and then we are going to use it over here, send OTP, and we need to pass in the request. Okay, so as the next step, we can actually focus on the OTP view. Here, what I'm going to do is to grab the first 2 lines from the login view and paste them in the OTP view. So initially, we will have the error message set to none, and then we are going to do a if check, the request method is equal to post. Then we are going to get the OTP entered by the user, and also we will grab the username from the session. So OTP is going to be equal, and then request post, and then OTP. All right, and from this, in terms of getting the username from the session, we are setting it over here. So we can simply grab this part and create a variable username and set it to request session username. Okay, now we can try to get the secret key and the OTP expiration time from the session. So what I'm going to do is to create a variable OTP secret key, and this is going to be equal request session, and then what we want to do is to grab the OTP secret key. All right, I'm going to copy this, paste it below, and here we will have the OTP valid until, and this is going to be OTP valid until. All right, so we can do a if check. If OTP secret key and OTP valid until is not none, then what we are going to do is to convert this string, because OTP valid until is a string, and we want to have a Python datetime object. Okay, so we will have a valid until variable, and this is going to be equal date time. Okay, so we need to import date time. So from date time, we want to import date time. All right, and here we can use date time, and then from ISO format, and we will pass in this OTP valid until. Okay, and having this, we can actually check if the OTP is valid. We can write if valid until is greater than date time now. Okay, so if now we have, for example, this is time now, let's say. Okay, and 25 seconds. Okay, and then valid until is, let's say, 56 seconds. Okay, so if this is valid until, and this is date time now, and our one-time password is valid for 1 minute, this will be true. Okay, and we can continue if it's true. So as the next step, we are going to check the secret key. Okay, so we will have this additional security step. TOTP is equal to, and then POTP. We need to import POTP. All right, and then over here it's going to be TOTP, and then OTP secret key, like this, and interval 60. Okay, and now we can do a check. If TOTP verify, where we are passing our OTP, is true, and if this is the case, we can now log in the user. So I'm going to import login, and then I'm going to write login. I'm going to pass in the request and the user, which we need to actually grab. So the user is going to be equal, and we need to do some imports over here. So from Django contrib auth, and then models, we want to import the user model, and also let's just grab get object or 404. So let's grab the user with get object or 404, and here I'm going to pass in the user and set the username as the user name. Okay, so the username we have over here, and we are getting it from where is it? From over here. Okay, so if this is the case, now we can pass in also the user and simply log in, and then we will need to be redirected somewhere. But before we do the redirect, let's remove the secret key and OTP expiration time from the session. So delete request session, like this. Okay, so we want to delete the OTP secret key and OTP valid until. Okay, and then we want to return redirect, and we want to be redirected to main. Okay, and then we will have, for a little bit later, some else statements where we will be setting the error messages. So for now, I'm just going to put in everywhere pass. Okay, and yeah, I think we can try this. So yeah, let's see if this will work, or if we are missing something, or we did something wrong. Login. Okay, we have our one-time password over here. I'm going to copy it, and here at OTP valid until line 31. OTP valid until utils OTP. Okay, wrong. I used the wrong key. Sorry, guys. So OTP valid date, like this. Sorry about this mistake. Let's try this one more time. Let's also change this OTP valid until over here. Okay, let's save this, and let's start from the beginning. OTP I'm going to grab the one-time password, confirm, and this is working. So we are logged in, and now we can log out and try it one more time. Okay. And this time it didn't work. So the question is why. What I'm going to do is to handle those error messages, which can obviously help us. And I made some mistakes. So this is the first else for this if check. Then if valid until, and then if OTP secret and OTP valid until is not none. We don't need one for the request method post. So first of all, what I'm going to do is to set an error message as invalid one-time password. Okay. I'm going to copy it, paste it. Here we will have that one-time password has expired. Okay. And then over here we will have simply an error message with oops, something went wrong. Okay, let's also pass the error message to the template. Okay, and let's try this from the beginning. Login, one-time password. Let's copy it, paste it, and this worked. Okay, let's do it one more time. Let's get the new one-time password. And it worked. So I don't know why it didn't work the first time. I'm going to do it one more time just to be sure. Okay. First, I'm going to put in something else. Okay. We have invalid one-time password. Now I'm going to input the correct one, and we're taken to the home page. Okay, I'm going to log in one more time, but now I'm going to wait for this one-time password. And what I'm going to do in the meantime is to go to the main view, and I'm going to do a if check. If user name in request session, then I'm going to delete this username. So delete request session username. All right, let's save this, and then let's go over here. I hope the time has passed and we can actually get an error that this one-time password has expired. So let's find out. I'm going to paste it, and we get one-time password has expired. Alright guys, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, and hope to see you soon in the next video. Take care and bye bye.